What makes it fascinating?
It's just, when you think of the Brontes, especially, you think of stuff like Jane Eyre and all of those sort of heavy romantic subplots, and then suddenly you get these very chilling ghost stories that they wrote.
Right. Okay. You'll hear signal checks from the phone, like you get with your radios. So, airplane mode.
Not a bad idea.
The fact that you're recording is cool, but you don't need your phone to be a phone to record.
And it's the main reason I've got it is because my dad might need to contact me, but now how do I put airplane mode on? Where is it away?
Is it Android?
Yeah, got it.
Swipe out. Okay, cool.
Yeah, fuck Apple.
Look, the only reason I'm still with it is because it's so easy to upgrade. It's just ridiculous.
But then it got to a point where I'm like, okay, this phone and we have achieved a working relationship.
Yeah.
I don't want to, especially the days where, predictive text was still, where you had to teach your phone all the good swear words before you could sort of have a proper conversation.
Before you can have a proper conversation, absolutely.
See, when I had a phone with predictive text, I didn't swear because I was still in primary school. 21.
How old are you?
28. I swore in primary school too, but that's just mostly,
Yes, but when I
I
was...
swore in primary school, but that's Australia. We have no culture of.
And I see, it's more. It's not that people didn't swear in primary school. It's that I didn't swear in primary school. I was a really weird kid. Nobody liked me very much.
That's right.
I don't think anybody ever liked anybody in primary school.
Ruin. You don't really start becoming your own person until you get out of school anyway.
Sure
I mean, I look now back at some of the things I used to do in high school. I'm like, why the hell was anyone ever near me? Emma, I was a really horrible person.
It's good that you recognise that, and it's good that you're fixing it. That's good. What were we due to talk about? We're due to talk about conventions.
Yeah, conventions mostly, but I thought we'd just touch on Geek XP a bit.
Yeah, sure, happy to. Cool. Well, we've been recording for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
See? You didn't even know.
Well, I
And
figured
now
when
you're
you push the button.
You knew that, it's now comfy. So this is now your podcast and do you normally do intros when you have guests?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Well, we don't. This is actually the first time we've had a guest, but
Oh, hey.
I mean, we've got a video interview with Raymond Feist, but that's not the same thing.
I did see that. That was very cool.
yeah.
He's ridiculous.
So far, that has been the biggest feather in our hat.
Would you like to know a secret? It's not going to be a secret. The reason I started the podcast, the reason I started Release the Geek as a podcast, was 2 reasons. Well, it was spawned by one event, and that was listening to Henry Rollins tell a story about watching Iggy Pop on stage. Rollins told this entire story because Rollins thinks Iggy is God. Rollins loves Iggy. Everybody loves Iggy. But Rollins had the opportunity to perform in front of Iggy before Iggy came on stage. So Rollins spends weeks getting fitter, and he's already a freak anyway. He gets fitter, upping his stamina levels, the whole bit, gets out on stage, and he gives it everything. He left every ounce of energy he had on stage, and Iggy was watching on stage because he was coming on next. And as Rollins stumbles off, Iggy gives him a nod. Well done. Iggy then goes out and destroys. Iggy turned it up to 11. He had the crowd rioting. He invited the crowd on stage. They trashed the stage.
Yeah, but it's Iggy's fault.
It's Iggy. The stage was set up for, I think it was placebo. There was pop plants everywhere. He just had them destroyed. And Rollins is standing there with his jaw dropped, watching Iggy perform. And Iggy wrapped up with grabbing a guitar and throwing it directly over his head and not caring where it landed as he screamed his final note at the audience. It missed his head by 2 inches and erupted into sparks and flame right behind him, and the crowd lost its collective shit.
I think that's how you know when you've made it, when you can trash thousands of dollars worth of equipment and not break a sweat.
And everybody loves you for it.
Mm.
So as I'm listening to this was a podcast on the Nerdist. Actually, it was the
I
Nerdist.
love that show.
It was a Nerdist podcast, and they'd interviewed him. And I was on my way to work. I was driving. I usually had a 45 to an hour trip, which is why I decided my podcast would be about an hour, because that's a good trip in Joburg peak hour traffic. You might be able to listen to one, might be able to listen to two, or during the course of the trip. Right. But I wanted to be on the other side of the table, getting that story out from somebody. Because people everywhere have really interesting stories. They just might not think it. So all the funny crap that happened to you at high school, you'll have funny incidences, funny stories where you ran into somebody. Like, if I hadn't known you guys or had not been related to Icon in any way, and you tell me, we got a face-to-face interview with Raymond Feist. So what was he like? Tell me about it. What was it all about? Everybody has these brushes. Everybody has these interesting stories.
Huh.
So that was the first point of doing Release the Geek.
Oh, nothing.
Oh, sorry, okay.
But just touching on
The second, oh, sorry, go.
Actually, I completely forgot what I was about to say. That's quite embarrassing.
That's right. The second reason was, once you get a few podcasts under your belt, like once you get past 10, it shows your commitment that you've been around. Now when you send an email to somebody, it's not, hi, I'm a complete fanboy and I want to meet you. Is that going to be okay? No. Hi, I run a podcast and we talk about these things. Do you mind if we sat and chatted? Raymond was our 8th interview. We happened to be going over to the States. I sent a mail because when he came out here for a book signing tour, we tried to get him here and he said, look, no. And then I sent an email and said, we're going to actually be over there. Do you mind if we pop by? And he went, yeah, sure. Okay. And that's how we got Feist. Now all of a sudden we've got Aki Anastasi. We just sent him a mail. I said, would you mind? He said, yeah, cool, because he likes tech. So he likes podcasts, he likes tech.
Yeah.
And then we have, through Vic, we have other comedians. We have Warren Robertson. We have Mel Milner. And now we've got Raymond. So all it takes is a couple of feathers, and then you've got the credibility to now start asking, and you don't have to be embarrassed by it because you're creating something. You're doing this for a purpose, and we'd really like to talk to you about it. So the reason for this podcast is purely a chance that I can email people and go, hey, would you mind? And now we've got 90, we've dropped 91. I have 5 more in the can to take me through, well, 7 more in the can to take me through into January. And then we start thinking about our 100th episode.
Yeah, we've actually got to start thinking about that because primarily we've done YouTube videos, not podcasts.
Right.
Just, you know, when you're covering the sort of convention circuit, also once you've done your first video, you can talk to people.
Yes.
And then you do the second video, they're like, oh, it's that guy.
And you get more comfortable at it too.
Yeah. But, you know, after a while, the problem is if someone's not sort of a regular convention goer, it just looks like a fate to, you know, sort of the average Joe.
Sure.
So sort of what we were trying to do, be like, listen, we're here, this is fun, you should come down here and check it out.
Yeah, that's cool. One of the good things about podcasts is also it's very good reusable content. So even though you might drop it as a podcast through iTunes or through SoundCloud, throw on some visuals like you guys do, and now all of a sudden it's a podcast and video. So it's the same content, you've just tweaked it a little bit, and now you've got 2 lots of content, and that's better.
Just thought we'd double back a bit to release the Geeking
Sure.
Geek XP.
And we do kind of need to do our intro first
Yeah, we'll
at
get
some
to it.
stage.
We'll do the
You
intro.
can record that after. And
We'll
put
do
out.
it at the end.
We'll do the intro.
We'll
with the
fix it in
tackle.
post. We'll
Yes.
fix it in
We'll
post.
do
It's a great term.
The joys of editing.
And makeup, actually.
Yeah.
I use that phrase a lot with makeup.
Whenabouts did Geek XP sort of?
Where'd it come from?
Yeah.
This is not a humble brag. This is just how it happened. I had left working for a company. I started doing my own consulting work.
Because you did marketing?
I worked for Sage Pastel, the accounting company. So my job there, I was a business intelligence specialist. So it was report writing.
I'm going to smile and nod and pretend like I understand what that
Okay.
means.
So I can do sales. I can. I don't like it, but I can do it. What business intelligence is really a company needs to run reports, like its financial reports, its sales reports, those sorts of things. I specialized in creating those reports for companies, but also changing those reports around so we could see different things. You could see the information in different ways and get different analysis of what's happening at companies. Because if you only look at a number one way, you're only going to see it one way. And you're only going to draw a certain set of conclusions. But if you can change that stuff around, now you're starting to get a different viewpoint of what's happening in the business. So that's what I specialized in at Pastel. And then I left Pastel and started consulting on my own, and I made some money, enough that I could go, right, I'm going to go to Comic-Con and Gen Con in the same year.
That's quite an too.
It's like, I put it, it's like Geek Hajj. It's the Geek Holiday trip. to be able to do...
It's my understanding just getting tickets alone for Comic-Con is quite an endeavor.
Comic-Con is ridiculously tough. Tickets sell out within 2 hours of going on sale. Part of the tricky nature of it is if you've had a ticket before, you get to buy a ticket before anybody else.
What, you go on some sort of mailing list?
Correct. The Comic-Con tickets, even though it's in July next year, the pre-release tickets should actually be available, if not now, or they should have actually run it. But you only know about it if you've ever had a ticket. Now, the Comic-Con ticket process, slight digression, but we're going to talk conventions anyway. The Comic-Con ticket process is you register with Comic-Con, you get an ID. When you go to buy a ticket, you can buy an ID for you and 4 other IDs. So the people who get into the room buy for groups. Once those groups have now been to Comic-Con, they get first preference to buy next year. And you hit capacities, like what happened at Rage this year, where there was an attendance capacity and the LAN people could not get onto the floor because it would have hit safety regulation issues.
Fire marshal would have had a baby.
Exactly. And fire marshals, and this is something we figured out with Icon, your JOC, your safety officers, your fire marshals, can shut you down immediately, and there is nothing you can do. If a fire marshal says, this is unsafe, close it. The convention center, the dome, will go, okay, and do it.
I suppose they're considering all the legal issues that should they...
People would die.
Yeah.
So that's why. So I was going to do Gen Con and Comic Con in the same year because they just happened to be, the timing of it was they were 3 weeks apart. Comic Con had pushed back a bit, Gen Con had come forward a bit, and then I get to tell my friends, hey, I'm not doing this, and you're a dick, you're a jerk, I wish I could do that, why don't you take me with you? So the original idea for Geek XP was, I know enough geeks, I know enough people, why don't we run a raffle where everybody chucks in $100. I can get the tickets, I can get somebody there, so why don't we just run a raffle and somebody gets to go. Geek XP started as a Stockfell idea, that everybody hobs in, somebody gets to go. I mean, Stockfells, everybody gets a turn. It would have taken ages for everybody to get a turn. Like probably 2274, the last person would get a turn. But that was the idea. But then I wanted to make sure that only a geek would win. So you have to do geeky things. You have to do a geeky thing to get access to that ticket. So there, you could only buy it if you go LARPing, or if you went and shopped at Outer Limits,
or if she posted a picture of her dating me.
Incredibly geeky. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I still think I got more points for the cosplay personally.
So the original idea was I wanted to figure out a way to help South African geeks who may not have, which is a large majority of South African geeks, who will never get the chance to go to Gen Con or to go to Comic Con.
I was looking at the tickets for Comic Con. I mean, when you think about it as South African, just purely in terms of the exchange rate, once you've considered air tickets,
Hurts.
your accommodation.
Yeah,
I've been
it
looking at the...
I'm going to be doing some YouTube videos in early 2017 about how to hack your way to conventions. What are the tips, what are the tricks, what are the things that you can do to help minimize the costs and get access to stuff. So I'm going to try and give the benefit of my experience, do these things. So that was what it started. But then, I didn't want a non-geek to win this and go to Comic-Con and not appreciate what the hell they're experiencing. So then it had to be Geek Endeavours. And then the National Gaming Board said no. I said, what happened? And they said, well, what you're effectively running is a lottery, and the size of the prize exceeds what clubs can do, because it would have been at least 25, 30,000 rand just for airfare. They said, no, that becomes a lottery. So now you need to be nationally registered and all that sort of stuff. So I'm like, okay, well then we had to come up with a different method, and that's where we came up with experience, geek experience points. That rather you can buy something or do something and get given points, you can then trade those points in to enter into competitions. So you could buy 100 geek points. We'll give you points for go to labs, go to conventions, go to board game sites. We want to encourage you to do more geeky stuff. And then maybe you're 1,000 points short. So you spend $10, buy your 1,000 geek XP points, and trade it in. So now it became that model was simply because the National Gaming Board said any other model I tried would have been a lottery. I was not allowed to. So the idea would have been that people register with Geek XP, tell us what you like to do, we'll let you know about those things, and then we'll set the systems in place when you go to do the things, we'll get you points. You can then say, well, this competition to win that painting over there that's signed by Stan Lee, you could win that, but that's going to require 10,000 points. And this particular game, well, if you're a gamer, that's the sort of thing you might be interested in. That was how Geek XP started.
I suppose it's also clever in a sense because it gets, instead of the local sort of nerdage to just come out with their money blazing.
Yeah.
It
I
actually,
didn't want pay to play.
because so some of us were at the lowest sort of income bracket, would just get outperformed.
Yeah, you get traditionally, or even from a marketing perspective, geeks are viewed in a marketing sense as being in the LSM 7 to 10. LSM means living standards measure. So when you're talking marketing wants to spend money on advertising that will target certain people. They don't want to sell a washing machine. They don't want to show ads of washing machines to people who don't have an indoor toilet. That is not their core market. So there are a certain set of questions that help determine your living standard. That's the LSM. LSM, and it goes from 1 to 10. And these are questions like, do you have a decoder? Do you have an indoor toilet? Do you have a washing machine? Do you have this? Do you have that? And that helps determine on that spectrum, 1 through to 10, as to where you sit, and then we target advertising through that. So geeks fall into the LSM 7 to 10, but it doesn't necessarily mean that lots of geeks have lots of disposable income. Some do. Some have ridiculous amounts.
Yeah.
I socialise with a few of them.
Anyone who plays trading card games, knows at least
Money
one.
the Gathering is an excellent example.
Yeah, if I think about the amount of money I've spent on Money the Gathering over the years,
And
my money is gathering, just not in my pocket.
I got out of Money the Gathering just after Ice Ages.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I'm old.
Prophecy and Mercedes Masks was still a thing when I got in.
I don't even know what they are. Prophecy, I don't know yet. So there was 4th ed, like 5th, the rumblings of 5th ed were around at that point.
Because I think Mercedes Masks and Prophecy was somewhere between 5th and 6th ed, if I recall correctly.
No idea.
I'm just sitting here with my Mario.
I played with guys who still had black-bordered Arabians. I played with guys who had alphas and betas. And yeah.
So how did Release the Geek sort of figure into Geek XP, or was that just a sort of separate endeavor?
It was I want to have the conversation with cool people.
Get the people and have the conversation.
Make a platform, start with a podcast, and really, if you are shy, start a podcast. Because if you want this podcast to work, you have to reach out to people and ask them. You have to get over the shyness to be able to do it. But even just sending emails. You might never get a response, and then occasionally you send one to Raymond Feist, and you get a response, and you lose your shit. And then you turn to your girlfriend, or you turn to your boyfriend, or your partner, and go, "Oh, look at this mail. Look at this." And they get excited for you, right? And then you have to control your fanboy or girlishness.
I had that moment
Sit down. Yeah.
when I was in high school when Riley Brown came here.
Oh yeah. Wow.
For those of you who don't know, he did a lot of the artwork on the Cable and Deadpool comics.
Yeah.
And he was there, and I was so excited he was coming, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't read anything you draw. I feel awful.
Oh, it's sort of like
Well, he doesn't write it, so it's not an issue.
I've fortunately never really, well, fortunately, unfortunately, never really met someone that I'm that much of a fangirl of. Fairly certain, embarrassing as it may be for an
All
English.
the Brontes are dead.
Well, no, I don't like the Brontes. But as embarrassing as it might be for an English major, I'm fairly certain if I ever met Stephen King on the street, I would faint immediately and have to be carried.
I would love to get Stephen King as a guest. That would be amazing.
Yeah, just know if you do and he's in the country, I'm going to be following him around like a
He was
weird
in
creep.
the country. What are we? December. He was in the country 6 months ago.
Oh, dear
What kind
Lord.
of rock do we live on?
What
Yeah, mine's called the Third Year University.
what we found out when we took Raymond to Laurie Park, because part of it is to show the animals and stuff like that. We were told last week Stephen King's here, and no one recognised him. He was exploring Laurie Park. Nobody because he was in Cape Town for Dark Tower.
Yeah, I would not have known that.
So
But
Idris Elba,
oh yeah, because
Matthew
they're filming it.
McConaughey, and Stephen King were all in Cape Town, and no one had asked.
Watch Matthew McConaughey. I want to meet Idris Elba.
I want to meet
would
Stephen
love to
King.
meet Idris Elba. Yeah,
I just want to be like, hey, so you inspired me to write everything I've ever written in the past 5 years. Can you sign my copy of Misery, please?
We were going to run a competition to see who could bring the oldest copy of Magician, and then we realised that too many people have old domain copies. It's been dropped in the bar.
A friend in our role-playing group, the copy that he dug up to, and I saw that, I'm like, I'm not even sure if that constitutes a book anymore.
Well, it's like if I ever met Grant Niler, I can't ask him to sign my copy of Red Dwarf because I've read it so many times.
Grant Naylor is two people.
Yeah. Well, if I ever met them.
Red Dwarf.
No, I know Red Dwarf, but
They wrote the book.
Grant Naylor is two people. They used one name from one name of the other.
I'm embarrassed that I
Grant Naylor.
classed them as one person for a second. Because I've read the omnibus like 12 times.
Have you seen the latest series?
Not yet, no.
Is it out or is it?
It is out. It's out. It released 2 months ago.
I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not sure if I would. If I want to go back.
Because there was the middle series, which was Backworld, where like after they'd left because you know how series 9 ends on that huge cliffhanger. So then they all come back and they're on Earth and they're like, wait, we were cancelled. And it's them trying to get it back, and that released like 3 years ago.
I don't know. I love
And
Chris
now,
Barry, Rimmer.
yeah.
He did a TV show called The British Empire, which is fantastic. He runs a community health centre. It's somewhere in England, and he's a jerk. Oh, he's a jerk.
Yeah.
And I love Chris Barrett. I don't necessarily know if I want to see it, because how long it's been since Red Dwarf? 10 years?
Yeah, thereabouts. And I mean, the last series 8 was, the clothes were so 80s, it was painful.
It's also you get those things, you know, when there was sort of, and I have no idea if this is accurate or not because it's the internet, so you know, therefore everything should be treated as false until proved otherwise.
Says Abraham Lincoln.
When you know, like the cast of Firefly are thinking getting back together for another season. On the one hand, my inner nerd is like, yes, but then on the other hand, I was like, it ended sort of conclusively. You know,
I wanted 2 more episodes. I wanted 2 more episodes, and then they could have done whatever the hell they wanted. 2 more episodes got you the origin of Shepherd Book.
Okay, yeah, I got to admit, now I want 2 more episodes.
Although I don't want them to do.
So that's sad.
I really don't want them to do season 2 because they were planning on having Inara get raped and have a deadly disease and stuff. Because Joss Whedon is not very good with women.
Joss Whedon's a jerk. Well, he killed Wash as well. So
yeah.
Look, every woman survives Serenity.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I have some serious issues with Joss Whedon. It's a personal thing, but like he's one of those authors like who uses or writers who uses rape as a backstory far too often for my personal choice, and it's just like, okay, cool it.
But you were also at FanCon this year.
I was at FanCon this year. I did the double. I was in FanCon on the Saturday in Cape Town and came back up for Geek Fest on the Sunday. So I flew up the Sunday morning. So I flew down to Cape Town the Friday, met up with Jason Master, Sean Isaacson, and they were showing Jason Aaron around, so we all went out for ribs.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was incredibly jealous.
Well, the thing was, Jason comes from the South in the US, which is rib country. The closest I would have said that he should have tried Thunder Guns.
No.
The rib place that we went to in Cape Town, they were good ribs. They were not American ribs.
Best ribs in Joburg.
Yeah.
The Smokehouse in Braamfontein.
Okay.
Go.
I'll have to try.
They are amazing. They do like 3 or 4 different types of rib.
Yeah.
So they do baby back, beef rib, and another pork rib. And they smoke all their meat on like.
I'm there.
They've also just opened a new branch in somewhere else, but the Braamfontein one is really good.
Okay.
No, ribs notwithstanding.
Yeah, so we did FanCon, and I felt guilty because we organised with the FanCon boys to do podcast interviews. And this is one thing: start a podcast, make it good, work towards your podcast being good. But then you can turn around and say, well, by FanCon time, we'd already been into 60 episodes. So, hey, we've got this podcast that's been running for a couple of years now. We have 300, 400 listeners an episode, which is not a lot in global standards, but I can say I've got an audience in Australia, I've got an audience in the US, I've got an audience in the UK, and I would like to interview these people. So I claimed the media booth for pretty much all of Saturday because I was only there for the one day.
Make the most of it.
Yeah, so we had Jason Aaron, and I didn't want to take all of their time, so we said, right, let's do half an hour's. So that was Ian Churchill, Jason Aaron, Jamie McKelvey unfortunately worked himself like a dog, and he had to go crash. So I missed out on speaking to Jamie. Warren Lowe, Jason Masters, Lauren Birkus. We got half an hour. Warren and Dale talking about Survivors Club. We got half an hour slots of those. So rather than sacrifice Release the Geek to come down and do 6 episodes, we paired them together and had 2 guests per episode, but we made it a FanCon series. So 3 episodes where you got to hear 6 amazing comic authors and artists.
Yeah, but hearing about you doing back-to-back cons must require sort of Herculean levels of endurance, because for anyone who's never been to a con, Friday you're tired.
Yeah.
Saturday ends, you're exhausted. Sunday...
Icon broke me a bit.
Because this was also your first year as an organizer for Icon.
Yeah. So not only was the organising ridiculous, but I had to get into a zone of I needed to make these panels work because this is really important. This was a big thing for us to say that
It's the first time we've really had panels.
Yeah, so that the panels were good, B, that the streaming worked, and what we did. Of all of the panels across the entire weekend, I think I didn't do 3. I didn't do Pippa's, I didn't do John's, and I didn't do Sam's. So the rest of those, it was presentation, step off stage, make sure everything else is running. Luckily Grant were there, and they were handling all of that stuff. So I crashed Sunday night. I did not wake up until lunchtime Monday.
No, because I missed all the panels because I had to work.
You had to work, yeah.
But the problem is I could still hear them. I'm like, man, those sound awesome.
It was a lot of fun. We're going to do them again this year. We're actually going to expand the offering a bit more.
There were some really fun ones.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Which one?
Well, I went to the satire writing in South Africa.
Okay.
Mostly because I promised Rico I would.
Oh, you know Rico?
Yeah, he plays Petanque with my dad.
Yeah, I got.
Tell him that we still need to talk about next year.
I gotta say, Grant had just FYI, Grant is also the organizer and my boss. he had a baby when I asked him about Rico, because it was sort of hush hush at that point.
But you already got it from.
Yeah,
because he's like, hey, I'm going to Icon.
Rico told Jess and her father, who told me, and he's like, how the hell do you know about that? I'm like,
I know Rico.
That's hilarious. Well, so to any of the gear listeners, next year is Icon's 25th birthday. It is also the 25th anniversary of Madam and Eve.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
So Rico we need all we need is to be sitting around a table of coffee and just figure out what we want to do for him and what he wants.
He is quite difficult to pin down, but
he's
if you ever go to Parkview on a Friday evening or a Sunday evening, he's there playing petanque.
Ooh. I don't want
Parkhurst.
I don't want to interrupt him while he's playing.
No.
That's simple.
He's on my dad.
We'll have a coffee when he's out.
But having been to quite a few sort of global conventions, how would you say? I mean, I know our conventions have sort of started small and have slowly been scaling up. How would you say they're measuring up so far?
It's starting and it's good. It's a good start. The problem is that it's not fair to compare what we have here with over there.
I suppose because also all the content stuff is made over there.
When you talk Gen Con 2017 is its 50th anniversary. 50 Gen Cons. That's longer than Comic Con.
I mean, I've been going to about 12 icons now, if my math is accurate.
Yeah.
And I already think, because I was like a child when I started going to those, and I'm just thinking, it doesn't feel like that much time has passed.
If you look at the Supernova Convention series, and it's a series in Oz, Supernova runs 6 conventions, but they run them in 2s. So on one weekend, they'll be in one city. The next weekend, they'll be in a completely different city. And they try to do small city, big city pairings. What that does mean is they can bring through a truckload of guests and pimp them out twice at 2 conventions in the course of 10 days. And then say, oh, by the way, so this convention is now done. You've got 4 days off. Go see Australia. Be in Melbourne lunchtime Friday. And then we'll do it all again. And then you go. It took them 12 years to get to that level.
Got to build the rep, I suppose.
One of the things about guests, Summer Glau. I was lucky enough to meet Summer at Supernova.
Did I mention that I hate you?
That's totally okay. I won't show you that collection over there.
What collection?
No, you're not allowed to look.
Now I'm curious.
We can do it off air. Summer, we got to chatting, and we're having a drink, and I told her, look, I'm actually from South Africa. I live in South Africa. I'm Australian. I live in South Africa. We're starting to ramp up there. She said, oh yeah, cool. I said, so who represents you? What agency? And she told me the agency, and I said, oh, that's the same agency that she's going to kill me. I've just gone blank on her name. Lieutenant DeWalla from Battlestar Galactica. Candice McClure. So we interviewed Candice, and when we tried to get Candice back for a convention, she said, go through my agent. So it just so happens Summer and Candice have the same agent. So email. This is no reflection on Summer whatsoever. To get Summer Glau here for the convention would require in the vicinity of 750,000 rand. $30,000 appearance fee. 3 business class flights. Now, 30,000 appearance fee at the current exchange rate is close to 450,000 in its own right. That's just the appearance fee. Then there are the flights. Then there's the accommodation. Then there's other factors, because we would want to make sure Summer had an amazing time. So we would want to take you here, You're looking at 650 to 750,000 rand. Now, think about the fact that Icon pays it was $100 a ticket, which is pretty good.
And I've been
100 no, what do we do? 100 for the day, 150.
To be honest, I went to my first 3 icons I went to.
Yeah.
I've subsequently worked the convention for almost the last 10 years, so I haven't actually paid
You've
for a
never
ticket.
paid for a ticket.
As someone who was an attendee, if I remember correctly, it was 150 for the weekend.
Yeah, it was 150 for the weekend. Now, and people might say, well, 150. That's a lot of money.
Okay.
That's currently what you would pay to go and see an IMAX movie. That's 2 hours, or maybe 2.5, depending on the movie that you see. So $150. Now, for $150 for Icon, you got 3 days. You got over 25 panels. I think we did 27 across the top of them. You could play board games for free. There were demonstrations, solar pop, all the way through. There were role-playing demonstrations.
Places to
There
shop.
were places to shop for $150 for the weekend. plus $20 for parking each day, so maybe take that up to $210. Now, when you start putting that in perspective, the VIP ticket looks pretty good for $800. Especially that got you some stuff that nobody else could get.
Also, more FaceTime with Mr. Feist.
You got more FaceTime with Mr. Feist.
Though I gotta say,
he was good with his time though.
Yeah, no,
Forever.
he gave us a lot more time than I was expecting because we basically just wanted to grab like a 5-minute soundbite for our video.
Yeah.
And you ask him about his books, you're getting a lot more than a 5-minute soundbite. He's like, okay, we're off, we're going, buckle up.
It's a lot like John Connolly as well.
Yes. Apparently, John Connolly's awesome at that.
Oh, he's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm quite a big fan of his books, especially the Book of Last Things.
Yeah.
And so when I met him and I told him that was one of my favorite of his books, I didn't know he was going to be there, otherwise I would have brought my copy.
Sure.
But he ran and he found me a whole collection of limited edition postcards from that book.
Nice. Well, to wrap up the point about how the convention stack, if we wanted to move to something like Supernova, where they bring in like 15 people from overseas, and this is artists, they cover the gamut of pop culture. So it's not just comics, it's not just this. They cover TV, movies, voiceover artists, they cover the lot. If you were in the United States and you needed to pay $30,000 for Summer Glam, and you charged $100 for your ticket, that means you need how many people to attend?
I've been at work all day. Please don't make me math.
You need 3,000 people who would be there at that convention just to see Summer. That's not counting normal attendance, because that money you've got to go and pay the convention hall. You've got to go pay for all this other stuff.
Yeah, you've got fire marshal and emergency services on hand, and
the
additional costs must balloon
at some point
astronomically.
I would be happy to talk about costings of a large-scale convention, because it's not simple. Now, so even the running and the payment of the whole convention, all these things you've got to actually do, then try to get talent over. So is it an appearance fee? Is it not an appearance fee? Raymond was fantastic. He said, just give me a flight. Give me a flight, make sure I'm fed and watered, and pick me up from the airport, and I'm cool. So he forewent an appearance fee to come out and help us kick this thing off, which just means he's even more
Stand
awesome.
up, gentle.
Or more awesome.
He was really cool.
So having conventions in the United States where you can draw on lots and lots of people and you can negotiate that sort of thing. The Fan Expo convention series in the United States has an amazing model. They're actually Canadian. So they run something like 8 conventions through the course of the year. But what they do is they'll sign a contract with the talent and say, you commit, we'll pay you X. That commits you to 4 appearances based around your schedule. You get a cut of all the signatures. Now that's something that we're going to have to prep the South African audience for, because South African audiences are not used to the idea of, hey, Raymond was awesome. Raymond didn't charge for his signature, doesn't charge for his photo. You go to Supernova, the last 2 Supernovas they were in Adelaide and Brisbane, and they had Nathan Fillion.
Oh, wow.
And to buy a signature from Nathan Fillion was $100. To get a photo with Nathan Fillion was $100. Now, how did the photo work? And I'll show you photos that I got with Summer and with other people over there, so you can see the sort of experience. When you pay to get that photo, you join a queue. If you're a VIP, you jump to the front, but otherwise you're waiting in that queue. You step into a studio that's been set up. You have your mark, which is right next to the talent. You shake hands with the talent. Hi, how are you? Is there anything in particular you need to do, like a funny pose or something like that? No? Cool. Smile for the camera. Shot gets taken. Thank you very much. And you are gone. The entire interaction takes less than 90 seconds.
Well, I suppose it has to take about that amount of time.
Because you've got hundreds of people that want to go through here.
Yeah.
At $100 a pop. That's for Fillion. Now, other talent would be $60, others would be $50, others would be $40, others would be $30. Depends on the level of the talent. But that's your interaction. But you've got to move these people through. Now, what do you think South African geeks will do if we manage to bring out Fillion, if we manage by some stroke to get his appearance fee, and then tell every geek in South Africa, you need to pay 1,000 Rand for a 90-second interaction with the man for a photo. Now, understanding that people pay that money to get that photo, what do we do with everybody else who's got a camera phone and wants to take a selfie with him? We have to police that. Because, hang on, no, you can't just get a photo now.
Screwing all your customers.
Yeah, because all those people over there just paid 1,000 Rand. Some people will. Fangirls, fanboys will go, oh, it's selling on here, I'm going to sell a kidney and I will just get signatures. That's the scale that conventions are like overseas. Are we getting there? Give us 3 to 5 years and Icon might get to a level where we have 5 guests, 6 guests, but each of these people are going to want appearances, and our problems are, we're at the other end of the world.
The exchange rate sucks.
Our exchange rate blows chunks. So Zuma just needs to shut his mouth whenever we're negotiating these rates to get these people across.
Yeah.
Don't even look at Supernatural. Don't even look at the guys from Supernatural. They do an entire convention experience in the United States. They roll in the money. But that's lots of people paying $20, $50, which is a couple of $100 Rand in context, not in exchange, in context. Those sorts of things will affect it. You need a lot of money to put on a convention, and you can't just take any profit. If you make a profit, you can't just take that profit and then spend it. You have to reinvest it to build this thing up. It's a 5-year plan. Grant and I have a 5-year plan about Icon. It's not just, hey, we did Gallagher once. We can't go back.
Also, you had, well, just for those of you who've never actually been to an Icon, or,
shame on you.
Or this, or this was your first Icon at Gallagher this year. Jabula is a sort of community centre. It's a nice little place, but there's not really a lot of room for growth.
We're running Cos XP there. We're shifting it from Blair Gowrie to Jabula in March this year. So
awesome.
That little cosplay exhibition, that's going to be at Jabula.
I will have to have a look.
Please do. It's going to be lots of fun.
I do cosplay, but I'm really bad at it.
We've lined up, I cannot say because we've not signed
Person.
Not person, companies.
Ooh.
Who will be doing demonstrations of cool cosplay related stuff at CosXP.
Nice.
Yeah, so we want to use CosXP as a basis for the cosplay competitions that we want to run at Icon. We want to make Icon's cosplay competitions something that somebody's going to spend a year working on because the level is there. We got a bit of flack but apparently cosplay community, there's drama.
There's always drama.
I'm not going to get hate mail saying it.
Nerds love their drama.
They do.
You know you do, nerds.
We live on it. We live on it. It's like oxygen. Having a cosplay competition where we said, all right, this is the level we need to be at. Cool. We're using World Cosplay Summit rules.
Well, if you want to swim in the big pond, you
have to start competing at that level. And we had a bunch of people going, but we can't do that. It's like, well, then maybe you should try next year and spend a year building up to that. Oh no, you're just excluding. I don't know. If you want the scene to be better, you need to make the scene better.
Also, how is it in this country sort of organising sponsorships from businesses and stuff? I understand there were a few hiccups with that this year. Yeah,
first time we do something, you have no track record. Even though there were 23 years of Icon history.
Everybody's scared to put money down.
Yeah, well, nobody knows what they're getting. So even Gallagher Convention Centre, when we first sat down, we had to explain things to them. Like, you're going to have people in costume. What does that mean? So we had to explain.
Sounds fairly self-explanatory.
We had to explain stuff like cosplay. We had to explain stuff like LARPing, stuff like role-playing. We had to explain that people will spend money on comics, that people will spend money on board games, and they didn't understand it. The type of conventions...
Set up in outfits that'll scare the hell out of your security.
Yeah, that was a conversation we had to have. We had to talk to the security teams and go, you're going to have people with fake weapons. You're going to need to be on guard. You need to understand this. Gallagher has now gone, oh, okay, we think we know what you're about now. We want you to come back. So we've already come to an agreement with Gallagher that we've got dates confirmed for the next 3 years because they want us there, because they're looking at this going, this is interesting, it's different, and we're cognizant that we need to be different enough from Rage. But people just go, oh, it's a Rage knockoff. Well, it's not a Rage knockoff. We do popular culture, and we do every aspect of it rather than just tech gaming.
Yeah, you always feel that the tech side sort of, don't get me wrong, I love my tech, but you always feel that the tech side of things always tend to just swallow everything else up.
Yeah, we're going to have a tech aspect to Icons going forward, but we need to make sure that we keep Icons' identity safe, that this is where you go to laugh, this is where you go to learn how to roleplay, this is where you go to learn how to play board games, because that's what it's always been.
Yeah, like there's board games that I'd never even heard of before I started going to Icon.
Yeah.
Like, before I started doing this sort of thing, my board game knowledge was Monopoly. Ugh. Sorry, I have Monopoly issues.
I'm glad you're now illuminated.
And yeah,
From a comparison perspective, Icon is embryonic in relation to other major conventions overseas, but there were certain conventions that were at this stage as well. Huntex, which is one of the biggest conventions that Gallagher has, that's where you go to find rifles and shooting and bows and arrows. It's a hunting expo. The first time they ran, they had 1,000 people. The last one they had this year, 45,000 people. Rage gets 32. So there are more hunters than gamers.
it somehow does not surprise me.
The point is that the first time you run something, they're not sure what they're going to get. Now that we've dropped a convention where we streamed panels seamlessly, where we had no lag, where we trended 13th.
I gotta say, the Wi-Fi for the convention was top notch.
Well, that was very cool. That was thanks to Always On for that one. That was certain people needed to be thanked for that.
Thanks, Always On.
This video is not sponsored by Always On. We're just fans.
We are up to negotiation though.
So the hashtag Icon 2016 trended 13th nationally on the Friday, which Always On said for our investment, we got incredible coverage. They took a risk and they were rewarded with that. And now it's a case of we'll have connectivity again next year. It's just going to be in a slightly different form. But now we've got something that we can turn around and show to people and say, this is what we did. You can now be a part of it. So they've got and they can actually see a result. And that makes it easier to have the conversation. Doesn't necessarily make it easier to pry money out of their hands. Anybody thinking of starting a small convention or looking for sponsorships on podcasts and stuff like that, you're going to have to throw a lot of mail, a lot of contacts out to try and get something.
Because you always hear with relation to sort of Comic-Con in particular, people, a lot of the sort of fan base are bitching about how the sort of corporate aspect of it had sort of bought out all the space. But then these guys they'll go to the convention and be like, oh my god, that exhibit was amazing. I'm just like, yeah, but money for that had to come from somewhere.
Has to come from somewhere. Nickelodeon this year celebrated its 25th anniversary. At Comic-Con this year, they created an entire museum of Nickelodeon history, which was incredible to look at. I didn't go to, because of Icon this year, I didn't get to go to Comic-Con, but I did get to go to Gen Con. Now, Gen Con's a completely different beast. It's just straight gaming. It's straight gaming. Go to Comic-Con, you're going to get a mix of pop culture people, some of the old diehards. It's not really about comics anymore. Gen Con, it's gaming. When we're done, I will show you a video that I took on my phone of the Paizo Pathfinder Hall at 11 p.m. on a Saturday night. And it was full. And they did not stop. And it's 4 solid days of gaming. Indianapolis does not shut down during Gen Con. The convention hall will stop. You grab space. You go into the foyer of a hotel. You grab a table. You sit. You play.
Like occupy all available space movement.
Everything. Yeah, you can't find a seat because somebody's in it playing something. It could be, we just bought the latest D&D expansion because D&D 5th Ed dropped at Gen Con. We're playing it now. Well, that was last year. But we're playing it now. We need to play. So you get a completely different type of attendee at Gen Con than you do at Comic Con. Comic-Con is known for its panels. Gen Con ran over 1,400 panels. 1,400 sessions. A lot of them were True Dungeon related because they run every 3 minutes. But you can do panels with Patrick Rothfuss. You can do panels with Jim Butcher. You can do panels with authors, with games designers. I went to a panel that talked about podcasting. It was how to get started with podcasting. There's always tips you can learn. There's always things you can learn. And from that, and the podcast, I learned about the podcast meetup. So that was, if you've got a podcast, come tomorrow. We're all just going to swap knowledge and meet up. 2 podcasts out of that. I walked away with my equipment and interviewed the Anonymous Tabletop guys out of Chicago, and they're awesome. And got an email follow-up from Nick and his team in Indianapolis, where we did it by Skype. So Gen Con is a completely different entity. I think my main point away from this about conventions is that when you want a convention of that scale, it is going to require money. In order to do that, you may have to be seen to sell your soul a bit for companies that would want to do it. So
as long as you get a good price for it, I suppose.
Yeah, so when it comes to your podcast, like you guys have a podcast, and a sponsor comes in. A sponsor says, you know what, we're going to spend some money, we'll fund some nice equipment for you. Can't ever have you swear. You know that thing that you said? We don't like it. What's the trade-off that you have to go through and assess to make this thing work? How much are you willing to trade to make it work and make a success? There are certain sacrifices you can make, and there are others that you would just go, you know what, that is going to get away from the spirit of what we want to do, so now we don't. Knowing that you're turning back money that could help you survive or help you grow. If you're a creative, it's a choice you're going to have.
Trying to figure out the distinction, I imagine, can be quite difficult.
Comes down to your own moral ethics and what you're willing to do. There are certain people who go, I just want to make it big, ergo I will do whatever it takes and I will make whatever sacrifices it takes and burn any bridge. And some people go, you know what, we're making this thing for different reasons, where it doesn't matter if we don't get more than 1,000 people ever listening or 100 people. Bacon Battalion's a really good example of that. Their followers, their base, they know those people like them. And they're there for the content that Bacon puts out. Bacon doesn't change who it is because of potential sponsorships. They are who they are. And they've grown a base of people that follow them, that they know follow them because they enjoy the content. It's not a bot army that's signed up. They've not thrown a little bit of money and got 10,000 subscribers. They've got them organically by word of mouth, working hard, working on their content and putting it out.
Yeah, no.
And I have blown your time on that.
Well, I think we'll do this in like a 2, maybe 3-parter.
Hey, well, if you want to do that, then I'm totally happy to keep talking.
But, sort of earlier when we were talking about Chris Hardwick and the Nerdist.
Yeah.
Firstly, I love that show.
Once again, we are not sponsored by the Nerdist.
Nobody is sponsored by me.
No, so no. But I just feel we've done a lot of free advertising for people.
The Nerdist is an interesting thing. In that they are owned now, have been for a couple of years, by Legendary Pictures. Nerdist Industries as a whole was bought out in its entirety by Legendary Pictures, which is why you might have seen there's a change in the type of guests they do, the type of coverage that they do.
Well, I don't know, because I used to, watch the sort of first 2 seasons of the show they put out. Yeah. I felt it was sort of tapering off a bit in season 2, but I felt like in some ways they sort of pioneered the way the content was presented in some way.
They were very, very good trendsetters.
Oh, hey! Just there's a picture of
it's an audio.
Chris Hardwick.
It's an audio podcast. So what happened is that part of the fun of going to Comic-Con is that there are now an association of events around Comic-Con. You have 140,000 people coming through this convention, but once the con doors close, what happens? Well, they go home, they eat. But now events are starting to pop up around it, like Will Wheaton.
Yeah.
He runs Woodstock.
Someone else who I would probably faint if I ever met in person.
Yeah. Then, yeah, Will's very cool. I got to play board games with him at
I'm
Gen Con.
very jealous.
Sorry. That was a bit of a joke. I apologise.
I'll be bragging you.
On the Thursday night at Comic Con, Will does, it's like a geek talent night where he invites a whole bunch of people. They start at like 8 o'clock and they'll go to 11 or 11:30, and it's like geek variety show. All these geek bands that come on. Paul and Storm, they had Phil Plait come out talking about science stuff. The guy who writes the Oatmeal, he came on to talk about Russian space.
Yes,
and Russian
also
cats.
someone else
Who's
that
very cool.
I'm a huge fan of.
They had Randall Monroe, XKCD. They had, I'm going to kick myself, the voice, not Maurice LaMarche, he is the voice of the Brain. And he was one of the Animaniac voices. They had voiceover people come out. He did the country song from Animaniacs. And watching him do this on stage, and then see Will Wheaton run on stage with a chair so he could watch and he could fanboy over this. Woodstock is just geek variety show deluxe. That's the Thursday night. Saturday night, Notice does 2 podcasts. They do 2 live podcasts. They invite 2 stars per episode. So they'll come out for half an hour each. Now, these are stars that are already at Comic Con, so they just walk up to the...
I caught their podcast with, I think it was last year, their podcast with Maisie Williams
Yeah.
from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that was that photo. So the previous year I'd been at the late show of it, because they do 2. They do one at like 7 and one at 10. I was at the late show and I saw that Chris always comes off stage in a certain direction and he answers questions at the end of the show. And answers questions, no. So I thought, well, let me see if I can't get tickets in that area. So on the second show, I managed to get a seat 10 rows from the front, 3 seats in. So it'll be near the aisle where he's walking up. And so he was handling questions and said, well, can we kind of keep the selfies to a minimum? I said, yeah, well, I'm from South Africa and I came a long way. And he went, okay, that's fine. Hence, he grabbed the phone and he took the selfie while I was talking to the guys on stage. So Comic-Con, even the events around it, every night there is something happening. The major shows with pop culture pull, like Psych had their own variety show in another theatre. So it's not just a case of getting tickets to Comic-Con now. You need to get a ticket to Comic-Con, ticket to Woodstock, ticket to both shows of the Nerdist.
Trying to figure out how to
Saturday
spend
night.
your time must be
And then the
hugely
Friday night was Chris Hardwick doing his own stand-up, the Uncomfortable, Fun-Comfortable tour. So he did that. Now, I was faced with a choice. I could either go to that, and I had an invitation to go to an art gallery just near the convention center where they had a special guest, but they didn't tell me who the special guest was. So I went to see Hardwick. It was William Shatner. And I missed out.
Hashtag Denny Crane.
Yeah, Denny Crane. So, and it was because of that painting. I bought that painting from a gallery, and they said, well, because you bought that, we'll keep you on the list of these events that we do, but we won't necessarily tell you who we organise to get in. That's the, I'm going to blank on his name again. That must be getting, just getting old. But he was one of the animators for Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers. Chuck Jones. It was the Chuck Jones Art Gallery, which is 3 doors from the convention center. So a lot of the photos that you see in the Gaslamp district, they're standing out front of that because it's that close to the convention center. So because they're Chuck Jones and Chuck Jones animation cells and all those things, they get to pull people over from the convention as guests. So there's now Gen Con. Gen Con now has Cards Against Humanity are now doing a Woodstock type thing at Gen Con.
Wow.
I went to the first one last year. The first 15 minutes of the show is them connecting their MacBook and letting the entire audience see their support email queue, and then getting the audience to help answer the support emails.
Oh wow.
What are we going to say to this guy? Like, because there'll be emails like, "Hey, you guys rock! Send me a free pack." Okay, how are we going to respond? So they were taking suggestions from the audience as to how to respond to their support queue. Yeah. So now the convention experience is now there's an entire ancillary market up and around the convention experience.
Organisms around the organism.
Organisms around the organisms. We kind of have it with the comedy night on Saturday night. This year's comedy night was ridiculous. It was. We even had some of the comedians say it was the funniest night of the year that they performed at. It was fun. So we have the comedy night, and we'll have that limited to X number of people, but we're not going to restrict the tickets. You'll still be able to buy them.
Yeah, it's also, like I said, I've been going to the last, 10, 15 icons, but I also have never actually gotten around to going to the comedy night.
What?
I really want to go.
See, the big problem is by the time you work the convention, by the time the doors shut on Saturday, you're lucky if I'm still able to stand up, never mind drive to there.
Yeah. Now that I've been a part of it and watching the awards ceremony, this was my first award ceremony on the Sunday. I don't understand how they have the energy to get through that award ceremony. I was broken.
Because I worked for one of the stores who was at the convention.
Yeah.
I don't know what was worse, the pack up for the convention or the packing up at the end of it. Because then once the stuff gets back to the store, it took us like 2 or 3 days to get the store set right.
That's a clue about conventions. You're going to save your money. You're going to buy stuff. You have a trade-off.
I don't think you can go to conventions and not spend gratuitous amounts of money.
Yeah, all the stores will not want to take their stock back. So a lot of stores will actually run discounts on the Sunday, but you can't risk it because you might miss the best thing that you wanted.
I've always found that's my problem on the Friday at like things like Rage, where they're like the collector's edition of the game you want. They're like, no, it'll be on special on Sunday. I'm like, this won't be here come Sunday.
It happened at FanCon. There was a table that they'd set up. They did a great thing. They set up a table just for the trade paperbacks of the talent that was there. So the Jason Aaron scalped Jamie McKelvey, Wicked and the Divine in this gorgeous hardcover, but they only had a few of them. So now I got there late to the convention. Greg and Naz had already scoped this, and they'd eyed them off.
That sounds like
Greg's gone, yeah, no, I'm going to get one. Naz has gone, no, I'm going to miss out. But the moment I saw it, I was just, I'm buying that, which forced Greg's hand. He's gone, oh, I was going to wait to see if I could. But now there's only one left, so now I need to buy it. So if you really want something at a con, you have to trade off as to how much you want it.
And how much nerd blood you're willing to spill to get it. I was about to say, you never realise how crazy nerds go over collectibles until there's a limited number left on the table.
Until you see the collectible lines at Comic-Con. So, the convention...
Sorry, was that lines or lions?
Lines. So the convention exclusive at Comic-Con. Okay. And there are dozens of them.
Do you see them online? Fetch a pretty penny.
So last year, the Magic the Gathering box set. Grant and I were talking. I said, well, he said, if you could ever get one. I said, let's go and figure out how we do it. So I go and check. In order to get a chance to join the line, they set up a tablet where you hit a button and it would randomly say yes or no. And if you got a yes, you got given a ticket that lets you then join the line. The lineup for the tablet, you were recommended to join that line at around about 4 a.m. because that's when the queue would start. And if you are so far back in this queue, because that Magic box set, they were only making 2,000 of them, and they were only selling them there. And these were the double-sided Planeswalker cards that were all playable, chrome finish, with a book. Now, you have to make, if you get the full weekend ticket, so there are 5 days of Comic-Con. There are not 4, there are 5. The Wednesday night is preview night. There aren't any panels, well there are a couple, but yeah, there aren't any main panels. But if you've got a 4-day ticket, you now get to go onto the convention floor on Wednesday night. On the Wednesday night, and you get first chance to buy stuff on the floor. And that's where all the conventions, a lot of the convention exclusive stuff goes. It's the first night. The people who have other tickets don't even get a chance because the Wednesday night has it. Saturday afternoon, I happen to be walking past the Hasbro stand, and I look, and for some reason there is no line. I said, really? What's going on?
What's wrong with this picture?
What's going on? So I asked security, where does the line form? Because when you're at a convention of that scale, the line wraps around the stand a couple of times, but it can't block an aisle, so it needs to jump the aisle and begin again over there. So you often have marshals who tell you where this line. So I asked the security, where does this line end? Where's the join point? He said, there is none. I went, really? So I jump in, and as I'm getting close to the front, there was only like 20 people in front of me, and I get to the front, and as I get closer, I see these magic boxes. And I go, no, something's got to be wrong because it's Saturday. What the hell? And I get to the front and I say, can I have one of them, please? And they said, yes, you may. Here is my $150 for this pack. Thank you very much. And they then take my badge, stamp it on the back, and mark off that I have bought one because it was a limit of one per person.
Oh, so it's for the trying to stop some prick grabbing all 20 and just be like, bye-bye.
Correct, yeah. And so I've now got this. And I said, so you have my money now, and I have this thing, yes? Yeah, that's it, okay. Cool, why? How? What are you doing? What's happening? They said, we've been watching this madness all weekend, so every 2 hours that we're supposed to allocate X number of stock, we've been holding some back, because we, the staff at this stand, are not enjoying the chaos that comes with trying to get a convention exclusive figure. So we're holding them back for non-allocation times for random people like you, who might just happen to walk by and get lucky.
Oh, wow.
So I have, in my room, one of those. I managed to also pick one up on eBay the day after Comic-Con for $170, so it was only $30 more. That's where the guys make money. They'll go to Comic-Con, buy up exclusives, sell them, make some money. So that one went to Grant, which was used as a competition prize for one of Outer Limits' Magic competitions. But I'm still sitting on the 2015 San Diego Comic-Con experience.
Well, Liz, it has been a fantastic experience. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, a pleasure. Thank you so much for asking. It was very kind of you.
Yeah, it was great.
Cool. Very cool.
Let's do the intro quick.
Cool.
Hey guys, it's Alpha Nerd and Jess the Awesome.
Take two.
Yeah, take it. Hey guys, it's Alpha Nerd.
And Jess the Awesome.
We're just here interviewing Liz, one of the organizers of Icon.
Hello.
Cool.
And done.